This VI High episode needs no preamble, because everyone loves arrays. So, we'll see first how to create arrays in LabVIEW, and how to manipulate them. So in LabVIEW, I'll hit Control-N to open up a new VI, and then I'll tile them, Control-T, side by side. Creating arrays is a two-step process. First, we put down an array shell, or array container, and then we populate it. So, going to my front panel, I'll right-click, go to my Array Matrix and Cluster palette, take an array shell, put it down. On the block diagram, we can see that we have the array terminal, but it's black, meaning it's undefined at present. So it's an array of what? Well, we need to put something in it. So I'll do something very simple, which is just create a numeric control. You see when I grab it and I hover inside of the array, I get these hashings along the edge. I click and it auto sizes around that. And now I've created an array of double numerics. Now if I take my cursor and hover over the lower right, you see I get what looks like a little staircase. I'll just click and drag this down and expose multiple elements in my array. Right now, I see that they're grayed out because the array is uninitialized. So let's say I come down right here and just put in any number. You see that these elements are no longer gray, and now I have a one-dimensional 5-element array. Now what's this right here? This is the array index. It shows the number of the element I'm viewing in the topmost place. So currently I'm viewing the 0th element of the array. You can see if I increment it, I'm viewing different elements of the array. The 0th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and so on. So it's handy if I get back a massive array from data and I have, say, 6,000 elements, I can just double-click in here and type in whichever element I'd like to see, maybe the 4,000th. If I do have that much data, it's also handy to right-click on the border, go to Visible Items, and check the vertical scroll bar. Now right now, I don't see a scroll bar because I don't have enough elements. But if I come down here and create a few, then you can see that I can scroll through them like that. Control-Z to undo that. So I've just created a one-dimensional array of controls. How do I create an array of indicators? Well, it's pretty easy. I can just right-click on the border of the array and change to indicator. There we go. For now, I'll leave it as a control. So I'll do Control-Z. Now going back to my array, I have a one-dimensional array. How do I get more than one dimension? Well, maybe I could just expand over again to the right. It doesn't look like I can do that. So I have to go up here to the index display, and I can hover over the bottom to this double-sided arrow, click and drag, and now I have 2 elements showing up. This means I've created a 2-dimensional array. I can also right-click directly on the index display and add or remove a dimension right here. For now, I'll go click and drag this over here, and then hover over the lower right, click and drag over here, and now I've exposed multiple elements of that array. So right now, I just have one row. To add multiple rows, just as before, I'll come down here and double-click, and there we go. I've initialized the array up to this point. And you see I have 6 rows and 8 columns. That's a pretty big array. As before, we can change what we're viewing by manipulating the index display. The top index changes the rows. The bottom index changes the columns we're viewing. Now before we go further, I want to point out a common frustration that new LabVIEW users have, which is manipulating arrays with your mouse. In LabVIEW, a little bit of nimbleness with the mouse is recommended. So if I'd like to move this array around, I have to go and grab on the edge of the entire array, right here. These resizing dots help me because they tell me what I'm actually moving or resizing. So if I hover over here, I see the blue resizing dots around the entire array shell. Perfect. I can click and drag. There we go. However, we find that sometimes people want to move an array and they grab an individual element like this. Then that deallocates the array and frustration ensues. Don't do that. Control-Z, we'll bring it back. Let's move this over a bit. another common point of frustration is resizing the array. I'll get rid of the vertical scroll bar first and reduce the number of rows by 1. So if I want to, for instance, expose more elements of the array, I can hover over this blue resizing dot, click and drag, and multiple elements of the array occur. That's good. But if I hover just inside of that, you can see now I'm changing the size of the elements in the array. That can be frustrating. So just be aware of where you're pointing this thing. Now let's head over to the block diagram and see how to create array constants. Creating an array constant is done pretty much the same way as creating an array of controls. First, I right-click, head to the array palette, and put down an array constant shell. There it is as before, black, so it's undefined. I'll put something in it. I'll just go to my numeric palette, and this time I'll put down a numeric constant, which is an integer. Put that inside, and as before, I'll hover over the lower right, click and drag to expose multiple elements, put a value in to initialize the array, and expand the array elements just a bit so I can see them. Again, as before, I go to the index and expand it to create a multi-dimension array, and then expand over to the right. Perfect. Array constants are pretty handy, and we'll see that they're valuable for initializing files, architectures, providing dummy data types to certain functions to tell them what to output, and so on. There's also a nice shortcut to create an array of constants if you have a comparable front panel array of indicators or controls. I would just go click and drag this over here, and now I've created an array of constants. It's a copy of this. It's not linked to it anymore. This is the terminal for that array. This is just a copy in constant format. So I'll move it over here, as before, drag it out, and you see the elements that I've already inserted. Likewise, I can go and take this array of constants, pull it over here, and I have an array of controls now. We're done for this time around. But next time, we're going to see how to programmatically manipulate these arrays, because we've created them, but we haven't really done anything. So stay tuned.